an update once again on UFC 303. And so let me preface the update. As I'm recapping everything, it doesn't mean that I'm just like bloviating here. I'm just bringing you up to speed, okay? I'm bringing you up to speed like so. We know about the press conference. We know that the press conference never happened last Monday. We know at the 11th hour, Michael Chandler was told not to fly over to Dublin. On Sunday, he's done an interview with The Pivot, with those guys. He kind of laid it out. Go check it out on their YouTube channel. But on Sunday of last week, he was told, don't fly to Dublin. There is not going to be a press conference. We know that no one has come out and said specifically why there was no press conference, why it was canceled. We know that on Monday, I came on this show and laid out all the reasons that were not at play. And there are some good detectives out there that were able to figure out the reason at play. As I've said before, I was asked to not discuss that, report that off the record. Certain things are on, certain things are off. We don't have to get into all of that, but that's fine. On Monday of last week, I would say the optimism level was not very high. There was some concern, there was some doubt, there were roadblocks. I came on this show on Wednesday and said, optimism was high. There was great positivity, all those words that I used. It felt like we had dodged a bullet. It felt like we had turned a corner. On Tuesday, I reported that the UFC was sending out feelers. They were reaching out to fighters and managers to see who could possibly be available to either replace the fight, meaning 2 new fighters, or step in and replace one of the fighters involved to fight on this card. Obviously, the fighter that we're talking about is Conor McGregor because, if not, why would why would Chandler be ready to go on a plane to Dublin? And so I said that it seemed like we were all good. And by Wednesday, no feelers were being thrown out. No one was talking about this really. It seemed as though all systems were a go. And more proof to that was Chandler doing the interview with The Pivot, speaking about everything that he had been through over the past week. That interview was done late last week. And also on the ABC card, the Fight Night card in Louisville, on Saturday, on the telecast, a ton of promos regarding UFC 303 and regarding that specific fight. T-Mobile is promoting it. UFC is promoting it. All systems seem to be a go. All right. Monday, nothing really out of sort. But yesterday morning, I started to hear, as I continued to check in, because I know there's a lot of anxiety, a lot of doubt, a lot of concern about this because it's such a big fight and because no one involved, in particular from the UFC side and from the McGregor camp, are speaking about this publicly. Chandler did the one interview and that was it. And I think that squashed some concern, but no one is coming out and really talking about this. So I understand the concern. So I continue to check in and be a pest and be annoying. And I found out that via multiple sources that they are reaching out to people again. They are reaching out to managers. They are reaching out to fighters. And as I reported yesterday, as potential replacements, i.e. a new fight, as backups, as someone stepping in for McGregor, or as just insurance, as a, just in case we need to know if all these things are at play. One step further. Here we are, Wednesday, 1:13. The positivity that I talked about exactly 1 week ago today is nowhere to be found. I would say this fight is very much in limbo. I would say that it's hanging on. And I would say the UFC is working very, very hard right now to figure out a plan B. Now, the plan B could be someone stepping in to fight Chandler. The plan C could be a whole new fight. If you look at the roster, if you look at who's available, if you look at the champions who have just fought or who are scheduled to fight, there aren't a ton of options. There really aren't. And we could play this exercise because, trust me, I've played it a million times. But I'm just telling you where we stand right now, and I'm telling you the God's honest truth. And you want to know why it is the truth? Go back to Dustin Poirier versus Benoit Saint-Denis. Go back to when Dustin Poirier came out and said, I'm not fighting because I wasn't happy with my deal. And then we spoke about it a little bit. Dana White was very quick to go on his social media and say that we're all a bunch of bullshitters and this isn't true. And the fight was on. Behind the scenes, as this was all going down, they fixed it. They gave him what he wanted. This has been a story that we've talked about since Monday of last week, 10 days. That hasn't happened once. Does that not give you pause? Trust me, no one on planet Earth wants to see this fight more than me. I know everyone wants to see it just as much, but I am dying to see this fight. I want nothing more than to see this fight. I want to see Conor back healthy. I want to see Michael Chandler get his payday. I want to see that big fight. I want to see it for all the fans who haven't experienced a Conor McGregor fight. A new fan base has been born over the last few years. They weren't even around for DP3. They weren't even around for that in July of 2021. There is nothing like a McGregor fight. There is nothing like that scene. June, July, International Fight Week. It's magic. It's the biggest gate in UFC history. And it was that, like, when tickets went on sale like this. So there ain't no part of me that is hoping that this falls through. But I'll tell you, as of right now, it's pessimism. They're they're reaching out. They're putting out feelers. They're making offers. This is where we stand. And it's in great limbo. And last week I told you, if you ask me right now, is this fight happening? I said yes. But what did I also say? This could all change tomorrow or the next day. You can never definitively say something is on, especially when there are things that come up in a training camp. And so I sit here as I continue to update, and I tell you it's a developing story all the time. I don't feel that same way anymore. I don't. I just don't. But I say that once again to tell you that tomorrow that could change. But as of right this second, I have to shoot straight, 1:15 Eastern time. I don't feel that way, and I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but them's the facts. It's not looking good. Because time is ticking. If this fight was in late July, this would be a totally different story. And so here's what's at play. They either can find someone on essentially 2.5 weeks' notice to step in, either for McGregor or a whole new fight. You would like, in a perfect world, they can figure out, and I know they have their Perth date in August, and I know they have their Sphere date, and I know they have their Salt Lake City in late October. But, like, to me, if there's ever been a guy that deserves, the respect to call an audible for, it's McGregor. And what I mean by that is make a new date. Make a new date. I understand if Michael Chandler is in a position where he's like, I just need money. I don't think he's in that position. I know he will get a good chunk of cash if he fights McGregor from the UFC and from all the ancillary things that come into play when you fight Conor. There's a McGregor clause, so to speak. It's a lottery ticket. So I can understand him either saying, I'm going to wait. If you're going to tell me this is happening in August or September, October, okay, maybe I'll wait. If it's just done, then maybe I fight someone on short notice. I understand that. If I were in charge and this is done, you hopefully announce a 303 fight, a new fight, and at the same time you announce the McGregor fight. I think you could actually take a page from what Turki Al-Sheikh did after the Tyson Fury cut, which is Fury's out one day, next day you announce new date, May 18th, and then all the speculation and all the doubt and all the worry subsides a little bit because now all the talk is about the new date. And remember, that was similar to this. That was like a 4-month wait between the cut and the new date. And so this is going to be a story that continues to evolve. And this is going to be a story that a lot of people are obviously worried about. I wish nothing more for someone to come out and just say something, but I think that you are probably going to hopefully hear something in the coming days because you have to. 303 is 17 days away. Extremely unfortunate. Yeah, it's like as the world turns. And again, we could go through the roster right now. I mean, that was perfect. That was so perfect, by the way. I don't think O'Malley's fighting on 2 weeks' notice. They have plans for him coming up against Merab. I don't think Pantoja is stepping in. I just don't think that that's going to suffice. Topuria, they also have plans for. I don't think that they're going to divert from those plans on 2 weeks' notice. Makhachev just fought. Leon's fighting July 27th. Is there a DDP scenario out there? We know he was supposed to fight Izzy. I don't think Izzy's fighting on 2 weeks' notice. He just put out a video about, starting his training camp. Is there an Alex Pereira scenario out there? I mean, we know he has 2 broken toes. We also know that he's in Australia. Does he take the fight? Does he fight Yuri? Seems like Yuri was saying to people this weekend at the Octagon show that there's something in the works. A lot of people pointing to that. John Jones hurt. Aspinall fighting. Grasso is fighting Shevchenko at some point. I don't think Zhang Weili is going to do it, but that could be one. Does that suffice? I don't know. And so this is a predicament. It's a crazy thing because we have been in these scenarios before. Is it on? Is it off? But never before do I recall such a prolonged stretch of silence. That is unique. That is supremely unique. And so, yeah, let's see how the world turns. But as of right now, pessimism, Limbo, don't feel great. Don't feel great. And this is what it's like to report on things in real time. There's ups, there's downs, and right now there's an extreme amount of downs. So, bit of a bummer.